thank you all for coming today in person and online. Do have a few things to get through before we get started. First of all, before we start, I'd like to, before beginning formalities and introducing the speakers and kicking off, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the various lands on which we all work today. We pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging of all First Nations people wherever you are located today, and we know we've got around about 30 odd people dialing in online. So for the people that are here, bathrooms, male bathrooms here, females have to walk a little bit further and around the corner, and the emergency exits are just behind me over to the left. For those of you at home, you know where those things are, so good for you. Now, normally when I'm in front of an audience like this with a microphone, I'm normally doing karaoke, but today we'll try to be a bit more serious and we'll talk about people risk. My name is Nguyen Tran. I'm the National Manager for Growth and Distribution at EML, and I'm lucky enough to be supported today by a few of my colleagues in getting this session together. So I kicked off discussions about running this session with Aegis about 6 months ago in my old role as a state relationship manager. The gentleman behind you who is on my computer at the moment, don't let anyone know that he's on my computer with my passwords and stuff. That's Travis Kennedy. He's the newly appointed Victorian State Relationship Manager. So you'll be seeing a lot of him. Now, a little bit about EML, and we just wanted to sort of I know a lot of you are EML customers, some of you aren't, but just a little bit about why we're here today. EML has been around for about 110 years, and we've got a purpose of helping people get their lives back. We've only been in operation in Victoria since 2016, but since then we've grown. We're around about 480 staff in Melbourne and Geelong and across the regions with our mobile network, and we currently hold about 23% market share. We're Australian owned and run, and one of the biggest differentiators for us is that we also have a mutual benefits fund, which is part of the EML group, which allows us to invest in things that help our clients. And I guess it's from that fund that we're able to bring this to you today. Some of the things that we try to deliver through the mutual fund are benefits that include injury prevention, mental health, peer support programs, preventative health and safety programs for young workers, and employment sustainability. We work closely with employee organisations, employers, and peak industry bodies to deliver some of these programs for people. We know that we're not we do claims management. We think we do claims management really well, but we know that we're not the experts in everything else. So that's why we like to partner with FCW lawyers. We'd like to partner with Aegis to bring these sorts of things to you. They're the experts in some of these areas that we're not so good at. Over the years, we've invested around about $121 million into programs to support the cause, and we've got some really great partnerships with unions, business associations and academic institutions that some of them are detailed there. In Victoria more specifically, and like I said, we're a bit younger in Victoria, but we've done a lot of investment with Victorian Trades Hall and with the Australian Workers Union, as well as VECI in delivering different programs that you can see there. Along with that, the mutual has allowed us to invest in a lot of key areas that help to deliver good return to work performance, such as our 16 mobile case managers that operate across Victoria. And I know a lot of you have come from regional Victoria, and a lot of you online are from regional Victoria, so they're there to support and provide that face-to-face support where some of your workers get injured. As I said before, we're not the experts in everything, and we know that workers' compensation is really complicated. It's usually, to get really good success, it's a combination of your OH&S, your HR/IR systems, and your workers' comp teams all working together. So I know some of you probably wear all three hats, if not two of those hats. And that's why we're here today. We're here to call on some of our expert partners to help us support you in that learning journey. You'll also hear a couple of keynotes that I want to call out. Like, as I said, we've partnered with Aegis to bring this training, and they've put most of this together today. So, and Simon, I'll be introducing Simon pretty shortly. I'll be introducing Altius as well. So there's another program that we're looking to support where they'll be providing some day-to-day support to management teams at our local government councils. So we'll hear a little bit from Altius later on. I think it's after lunch. If you saw the two gentlemen out there from B Carwise, they're one of our commercial sponsors. So they grab as much merch as you can from them. They're there with the merch, but we understand that that employee benefits is a big deal for clients, and being able to provide the best employee benefits is what will help you retain your staff and attract the best staff. So that's their purpose here. They're not there in the workers' comp field, but they're there as a sponsor. So when you have your lunch, thank them for the lunch because they've paid for that lunch. So on the screen, you'll see a little bit about what we're up to and all the different bits and pieces of work that we're doing to try to help our clients. Before I hand over to our first speakers, I did want to give a bit of a scheme update. There's a lot happening in the Victorian scheme at the moment. Some of that writing might be a little bit hard to read, but yeah, I'll sort of take you through a little bit about this week is one of the biggest weeks in the Victorian Workers' Comp scheme. There's a bill in Parliament at the moment that's being debated, which will hopefully change the direction of the scheme. The scheme's lost over $10 billion over the last 4 years, so it's not sustainable. You guys would have copped an average of 42% premium increase last year, and there's a threat of another premium increase on the horizon. We're expecting the bill to pass. Our connections have told us that they're pretty certain that the Liberals will pass that bill, just with a few concessions, including the makeup of the WorkSafe board, etc. But that's likely to pass. But we don't know if it's going to pass in time for the premium increases to be avoided this year. WorkSafe have appointed new actuaries, so they've moved from PwC to Finity, and the bill. If you've taken the time to read 142 pages of the bill, I didn't read it. Travis reads it, and then he tells me the 5 key points. But basically, it's one of the main parts is there to really reduce the tail liabilities of the scheme. So when the actuaries do look at it this year, it's probably not going to come soon enough for the premium increases to be avoided. But hopefully in future years, we'll be starting to see the benefits, if applied correctly, of that bill to take effect in terms of the financial viability of this scheme, because it just can't keep losing $3-4 billion a year. Along with that, and this is not to scare anyone, but WorkSafe have been in discussions with agents about a potential market freeze, and that would just be a short-term market freeze whilst agents get their stuff together to implement the ledge reform. Look, there's no guarantee, and we're not convinced that the freeze will be needed or will be helpful for the agents, because the changes they're pretty straightforward, we believe, in terms of being able to implement. So there does remain a really strong focus on early return to work rates across the scheme, and we're seeing good signs that they're improving. We are also seeing that the government or the WorkSafe are talking about continuing further down the line of splitting public and private sector. So they've already done that in terms of the industry rates, but if you look at the New South Wales model, you've got the Treasury Managed Fund all to the side, which has got all the public sector employees. And if you think about the cost of mental injury claims, it's most of it is sitting with the public sector. So Skip, you got a question?
No, just to comment, if you have the ability to feed information back to the scheme, is that local government routes are considered private? So under those changes to the industry rate, it's only for those under the Public Sector Act.
Yeah.
So all of our services under the Local Government Act are unfortunately still considered private sector.
Yep.
So we all copped the higher rate rise last year. So if you do have the opportunity to provide any feedback, we're trying through our channels to be considered public sector as well.
Okay.
We've been unsuccessful so far.
Yeah.
So we're trying to get a change to the main version of the invoice.
Yeah. So remember, there'll be good and bad with that. So with public sector, that's where a lot of the risk is. A lot of the I mean, obviously there's different nuances in there, but there's a lot of the risk in terms of the mental injuries in the public sector as well. So yeah, whichever way, whatever happens, the WorkSafe is going to find a way to fund the scheme for all, and it's a kind of a good thing. But yeah, it doesn't at the moment. One of the biggest challenges and the things that we're been feeding back to WorkSafe is they don't offer alternative premium models like they do in other states. So Other states, they reward the good performers more so and encourage, incentivise the good performers to do more in that safety space. Whereas WorkSafe done it, it's one size fits all, unless you're big enough for self-insurance. And the other reason why this bill needs to pass is common law liabilities continues to grow. So there will come a point where it's just not viable anymore, which is why it's so important for this to come through.